I
got another year.
All right, good evening. It is January 15th, Human Services Commission. We're starting at what time here?
It is 6:37 p.m.
6:37 p.m. We have a Human Services Commissioner, Lucas Choto, excused for today. We have full for quorum. We're going to go down the list here. Call to order. Approval, actually, call to order. Any public comments? No public comments here for today.
Not online?
Nobody
online?
Nobody online.
Okay, for number 3, I know we had a list of conversations last month for approval of minutes. Do we approve minutes from prior?
I move that we approve the minutes from prior.
There was one correction on the minutes that I noticed the last time.
Yeah.
That was here.
It should be
That just below the approval minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and it said Commissioner Brown mentioned the approval of minutes. No, that's the wrong one. It was other stuff.
other business.
Yeah, other business.
Yeah.
It said since.
Window storm.
Oh, that window storm was awful.
Yes.
Windows flying
Windows
everywhere.
got broken.
Windows did get broken. Thanks, Manny, for that correction.
Thank you, Commissioner.
That's hilarious. It was kind of a window storm. Many windows were broken.
And then Brown,
Seconds.
Ed
Okay.
has an edit, and then you, second with the changes. Thank you. And then we need a vote then, unanimous.
Do we have a vote for as a commissioners?
We need a vote, so we have.
All in favor?
All in favor with the changes.
Oh.
That Maureen.
Oh, aye. Yeah.
Aye.
Thank you.
I,
All right.
Preston too. Preston, you can say aye.
That person is back there.
Yeah.
I could say aye.
In order of business, we have number 4, agenda items, 2025 Human Service Commission work plan and site visit plans. ID Hannah Roberts.
Wonderful. All right, well, happy New Year's, commissioners. We are coming in here. This is kind of a 2-part agenda item. The first one is I want to review our 2025 work plan with the edits that we discussed from December's meeting. I'll highlight some of the changes, and we all will need an action on it. The action will look very similar to how we vote for our minutes to be approved. So we'll go through that. And then the second item is a little more of a work plan in more detail of our site visits. And so we'll dive into that a little bit deeper after we vote on our current work plan. So you have, if it's helpful, you do have the work plan printed in front of you. For those online, it should be in the agenda packet. A few things. Again, we ended our December 18th meeting. We reviewed the draft form and we made some edits. Those were being more specifically the on-site visits. So in your packet, you'll see that it says we have commissioners are to complete at least one on-site visit and present to the whole commission. You have pretty much the entire year to complete that. In addition, we're going to invite our funded organizations to also provide a presentation, which I'll organize. So then on the back end, the other items I want to highlight here and some of the changes is we have our equity training that we discussed. This training really is not intended until 2026 prior to the next cycle, review cycle. But I do want to, towards the end of the year, start having that conversation and look at vendors for that.
Is that going to be mandatory for everyone? Or?
Yes, it will be. I mean, certainly if some folks are not able to make it, we can work around it. But what we discussed last time, the importance is we are okay doing a joint East Side equity training like we've done. We just want to make sure that we have very intentional time as our own commission to debrief, digest, and really reflect on that training. to be determined on the date in 2026, but we will make sure we have conversations and prep for that towards the end of this year. We also mentioned that we are wanting to do a joint equity board meeting. We always love those opportunities to partner with our equity board. So I'll be working with their staff liaison to see which is the most appropriate one for us to join. There's a few that seem potentially relevant to our commission. And then lastly, I'm excited to share with our joint Eastside Human Services Commission. We discussed the option of joining commission meetings with all the Eastside commissioners, especially when there's panels. So I've identified one. So I've already spoken to those staff liaisons in those cities. They are also very agreeable and excited for that as well. So I'll continue to coordinate some of those. I do have one coming up in April that I think would be really relevant for us. So more information to come on that. Just know that that's something that looks very positive and for us to move forward with. So I will work on planning those.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are we going to, well, I guess we're going to have new commissioners.
Yep.
So I was looking at the sunshine laws training.
Mhm.
So that'll happen after the new commissioners come on board in May.
Yeah, because that'll happen usually it happens the next month. So
Yeah,
in June.
yeah.
Last year, we didn't actually have new commissioners that needed to go through the training, but it was offered through our clerks. So it was actually done a little bit differently than the previous years. So yeah, we will prepare for that with new commissioners. Any other questions or notable edits?
I mentioned new commissioners. We're short commissioners right
We
now.
sure are, and it is a part of my agenda items that we will talk in a lot more detail.
Oh,
Yes, more information to come on that one. Yeah, thanks. It is totally on my mind too. No questions, comments? Okay.
I would say this is Commissioner Jaime. I think one thing we talked as a group was being strategic of who's coming to present. Is that something that we're gonna be having conversations of who's coming in to present?
Yeah, so I'll work on, so in my process of contracting with our organizations, I'll talk to them about kind of softly requiring them to come to our commission to present in the next, I'd like to see them all this year, but we might need to push it out a little bit into 2026. And so it will mean, we talked about that being a 5 to 10 minute presentation with time for Q&A at the end, with some criteria of what we want them to present on.
And it can be virtual too.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. We would love to have them in person, but for a 10-minute spiel.
Oh, yeah,
I will
absolutely.
encourage them. Oh, and the other thing, I wanted to be careful how I put it on the work plan, but I want to note that we talked about also doing, I'm going to call them field trips to nearby organizations that are walking distance from here. I needed to figure out what that looked like. I needed to know what that looked like through our clerk's office and this being a public meeting. So I figured it out. Basically, we can do something beforehand. I will just need to coordinate with each of the different organizations nearby. So that'll also be in the works for site visit. Great. Well, then we will need an action on this. You want if there's not any other questions?
On the actual work plan?
To approve it. You need a motion and a second and unanimous consent.
This is Commissioner Fish, and I will motion that we approve the Human Services Commission plan work plan as presented. I second.
Let's have a vote then. All in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Great. Okay, so just want to jot that down.
We have a guest here?
Yes, sorry, we didn't get to a second. I will present.
Okay, okay.
Everyone got to meet Brenda here earlier. This is our Human Services Manager, Brenda Parker.
Hi.
Yes.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Yes. Well, she's also part of my presentation. Sorry, we didn't get a chance to do official introduction yet.
Show and tell. Show and tell, I guess.
Okay, perfect. Okay, wonderful. Now the second item in this agenda is Looking a little bit closer at what site visits are gonna look like. There's a lot of logistics, a lot of coordinating in this, so I wanted to take this opportunity to discuss, where folks want to visit. And the intention is that each commissioner will do a site visit for at least one. You're more than welcome to do more throughout the year. And then the following commission meeting, we will present probably a 5-10 minute presentation of what you learned. You can go to do like a tour, work with their staff to schedule a tour. You can attend an event or an educational event that they're having or anything like that, that many of the organizations do. But regardless, the idea and the intention is we want commissioners to understand more about these organizations. What does it look like in their facilities? There's a lot to gain from that. And so the intention is for you to pick the one that interests you the most. There is the option too, if there's commissioners interested in many or multiple, you can go in pairs. The only thing I ask, or more, I just ask that you don't have a quorum, so that would be 4. So 3 at the max can attend one of the meetings. But other than that, we can coordinate how we want. I do plan to help with that handoff. So I can give you information on upcoming events for that organization that you can attend, and or I can do a warm handoff email for you to coordinate that. So that will be kind of throughout the year, very open on the timing of it. So I have, if you didn't come prepared for the organizations or you kind of forgot about the organizations, I have 2 printouts of the list. So
I was
yes.
wondering if I should get my phone.
Yeah. So you can, I should have printed more, sorry. So I will start with Madeline, because you also emailed me. I have you down for Bellevue College, Eat Happy Now, Friends of Youth, and Housing Connections.
Yes.
If we need to get back to you like tomorrow.
Absolutely. You can send me an email if you want to like be a little more thoughtful
Yeah.
about and spend a little more time on the list. And stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Hannah, I would also say, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, please go ahead.
If there's an opportunity where like there's an organization that Manny's interested in and you're able to set something up, I would also be interested in going tag teaming.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, Lucrecia, she's not here tonight, but there's very similar ones, so we can
Yes.
definitely work on going in pairs. That would be
Excellent.
totally acceptable.
Hannah,
Yes, Maureen?
would you please send me the list and I'll get back to you tomorrow? Resend me the list.
Of course.
Thank you. And I'll get back to you tomorrow about what I'm going to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Manny, are you trying to decide?
Thank you.
I think they have that
We're
list
sharing
on
that.
that section.
Okay, you guys can share it.
Sure.
I was going to say, can I do maps? I
Yeah.
can probably tackle all 3.
Yeah. And then I will add with MAPS, MCRC, they also run Essential First.
Oh, okay.
So we can
They
have
do?
you.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh,
So
awesome.
maybe I can have you,
Sure.
they're different, I mean, well, I'll see if it works out. It's the same ED for it. They're different organizations, but so that might be an option for you to kind of get 2 in 1 for that one.
Yeah, great.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Emma. And then I will add, we are anticipating new commissioners coming in May. They will also have this. It'll be a great way to introduce them to this work, so.
Introduce them.
Get out there.
Trish, you'll let me know tomorrow. And of course, so you know, this is very flexible. You don't have to be married to the one that you say. If something changes or you were like, oh, I see this is advertised as an event at, one that wasn't on my list, I'm going to attend and I can present at our commission. We are happy to have those as well.
May I suggest that we save like the Issaquah Food Bank for
The field
local, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
right across the street,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's discuss our field trips and where we want to do. So my idea was, and tell me if this would work for your schedules or if we need to adjust it differently. I want to work within their business hours.
Absolutely.
So I would imagine, so we start at 6:30. So we're gonna have our regular meetings, and what I'd like to see is a 5:30 start where we can meet here and then all walk together in true field trip status. to the different organizations nearby. So logistically, that's what I was thinking. And then we just need to make sure that we're done and back by 6:30 here to do a regular meeting. I will try to be mindful of those planning and make it smaller agenda items, so maybe we can get done sooner, but we will still have a regular meeting. So the ones that make sense for us to do those field trips at would be the garage right next door. I believe they're open at this time with.
They're open until 7.
7, perfect. With their youth services, I think that would be a great way. We would for sure see it in action. I'll work with their staff to make sure we're not like, invasive adults in this space. But where it makes sense, or maybe they'll have an opportunity for the students to do some sort of presentation for us. I think we can make this really fun. So one day I'd like to do the garage. The other one I'd like to do is the food bank. Ideally during shopping hours, right? Like see them a little more in action with their volunteers. And they're also, I think, open until 7 so I would need to make sure that
Certain nights, yeah.
they're every other week. So, and then the other one I think would be really neat is the meals program. So that one is over by the fire station. It is a little more of a walk, but walking distance, where they have dinners between 5 and 6. So we could just kind of show up towards the end. So I can work with their site leader on that one. Issaquah, I think it starts with an I think. Yeah, Issaquah Meals Program.
Hannah, where is
Oh,
the
that's-
Office for Issaquah Community Services?
It's there.
It's there as well, right? But they're not there in the evening, are they?
No.
Okay,
Yeah, they're done by.
I don't think it's on.
noon,
yeah,
so,
okay.
Yeah, and they don't even provide services on site. It
No, I know.
wouldn't be necessarily one where we could see on site, but maybe a good one to maybe have like a presentation for them to show us
Mhm.
more about what to do.
Yeah,
I don't see it on.
So, sorry, Tri Catholic Community Services.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that I did see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then it should be Issaquah Meals Program. There you go. And then I think, unless I'm totally spacing, I think that's all that's walking distance from right here.
that sounds about right.
So yeah, so commissioners, we will not do your own. We will make it as a part of a regular commission meeting. I'm gonna try to wait until it's a little warmer evenings. So we might have a few.
Good jog over there.
Yeah. So
Come on, we can wear snowshoes.
I like it. Those will not be offered virtually though. So,
No, that makes
so
sense.
if you need to attend, you need to be that one in person, and then you certainly can attend, go back home and do this virtually, or just keep here. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep those meetings shorter that evening.
Where's Influence the Choice? Where's there?
That's, I'm on the board.
Okay,
It's, we don't have a brick and mortar.
got it.
They
Got
have
it.
some really great events throughout the year though. So you know what, I don't often blast your emails with this, but maybe I will try it a little bit better this year is when we have our nonprofits having events that I think would be a good way to showcase some of the work they're doing. I can forward those dates for you.
Mhm.
And then what about the Y up in the Highlands?
Yeah, that's-
Oh, well, that's not.
It's not walking, it's not walking, it's not walking.
Yeah, but it could be a good one to visit. I mean, they have a nice a community
Yes,
centered area
Yes.
with offices and stuff like that, but yeah. Okay, so it sounds to me I'll get a few emails with folks' preferences of locations, but I will so far add FUMA, confirm Max MCRC with Essentials first, most likely to be able to do both at the same time. So I'll work on that coordination.
Okay.
And then Madeline and Lucrecia, I'll also work with you both and see what works for your schedules. Bellevue College, Eat Happy Now, Friends of Youth, and just curious, Friends of Youth, we found a couple of their programs. They have a local mental health
yeah,
here in Issaquah, and they also have a shelter over in Kirkland. So is there one of the programs, Madeline, that you would prefer to? I mean, you could probably learn a little bit about everything, but for a site visit, you probably would need to decide to do and their office is pretty small. I actually haven't been to it, so I don't know theirs.
yeah.
I'd like to go to the youth shelter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's the Hero House? Where is that?
That's
Bellevue.
Bellevue.
And it's new.
I hear it's really cool.
I'd like to visit that.
Hero House is new, is it?
I'm sorry?
Hero House is new?
No, facility.
Oh,
Right.
Do you
Oh.
know what it's called?
Oh, yeah, well, or they're building, their housing program is new. Hero House, they have a new, housing program.
Okay, I'm talking about,
Willows Creek.
yeah.
Friends of Youth, Shelter. Yes, it is
Right.
brand new. You were right. Manny, you said, Hero House. right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a good place to start. Like I said, we have all year, and we can roll this into next year a little bit too.
Now, how do we find out about, their visiting hours and whether they're having something going on? Are we going to take that on individually or as a?
Great question. So to clarify, I'm going to be the one to initiate the conversation. So so you do not need to, unless you feel very comfortable to go out by yourself, but I will do a warm handoff email between you and the executive directors, since those are my points of contacts that I work with. And I'll explain to them, give them the background information that this is a commission, this is who the commission is, and this is why we would like to do a site visit. What would be the most convenient for you and your organization? Could our commission, a commissioner do a tour and meet some of your staff to learn about your organization? Or is there a good event for them to attend to learn about your organization? So I'll kind of put it in their hands. And then from there, the most likely then I will expect you guys to then continue, because I don't know, I don't want to be in the conversation of scheduling. I don't know your schedule or their schedule. So then that'll be on you then to take the initiative to say, okay, let's schedule it for this date and this time once we receive direction from their ED.
And I would assume that we would send that information to you so that you can put out the information to the rest of the commission. Says, I'm going to Hero House a certain day. If you want to join me, type of thing.
Yep, that's a great idea. Yeah, I will just always remind you, no more than 4 or 3.
three.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, you can have a buddy.
Now, I'll put a plug in again. I think I did it last month. Porch Light, I mean, it's one of our larger grants, I think.
Yes, 20,000.
And it's the men's shelter over there on Eastgate. I have visited it, and I think it would be a very interesting visit if somebody wants to go over there.
Did they have a different name? Were they known as a different,
Congregation
that's for the homeless. Okay, I knew that. Thank you.
So I'm just, yes.
I would love to visit Pride Across the Bridge too.
Yeah,
We end up not.
no, we did fund them.
Okay.
I'm working on contracts right now. I think the challenge with that organization, and there are a few that will be like this, they actually don't have a site. So, it would have to be like they come to Issaquah to present. So I think for them, they would be a really nice organization to have to present here at the commission. I can double check with their ED, but I think they do some work in Capitol Hill. There is a senior center that they do some services at, or a day center, but they don't actually have a facility. A lot of their work is virtual or out of their house.
That is virtual.
Yeah. So there will be a few organizations where it just won't be possible to do a actual site visit. But what I can do is, I know they do some events, and they'll do some in Issaquah and some outside of Issaquah. That would be how you can learn more about those organizations.
Now, the Circle was also one that we had a lot of funds put into, right?
Mhm.
They do a lot
They
of.
give back a lot.
They
to
do a
us, yeah.
lot. Yeah, I mean, and their contract is a lot more than what they did even last cycle. We're contracting them to do work with a lot of new people. So there's 3 service units. There's one service unit that is tracking how many new people, refugees and immigrants are coming to Issaquah, which I think is a really helpful number to know and track. How many folks they're helping with navigation of different systems. That's the biggest thing that we're doing, but I'm excited to share that they're also providing financial aid. They provide up to $500 for, it could be for anything ultimately, for basic needs, medical costs, transportation costs, moving costs. So it is, I think, well spent money that is providing to the community. Yeah. They're also a great organization to, they will be doing a few events here at the city this year. So that's a great way to also learn more about what they do.
You can put me down for Imagine Housing, just because I was assigned to the behavioral health
Sure.
on from last year in terms of our grants. And then I probably would like to check out Friends of Youth. I think it's totaling the total from their continuum of services for housing and or behavioral health. I think it totals at 56,000. So
Yeah.
I think I'm looking at both those agencies that probably.
The views, are you interested in like their behavioral health like site or their
I would
shelter
say
site?
maybe just both.
Both?
honestly,
Okay.
yeah. Just given how where mental health is at and behavioral health, I think it's still at the top of the list with the upcoming governor. So I see how we're doing locally,
Mhm.
And how we can kind of shape and help and assist our community
Yeah.
when it comes to behavioral health.
Yeah, that's excellent. And Imagine Housing, just so you're aware, they have 4 units here in Issaquah. Rosecrest is the largest one. I will see what makes the most sense for you for this purpose. I might send a few emails before I include you in, but I'll pull you in when I can.
Did we mention Porchlight? Where?
Because Porchlight is the one that was formerly Congregations for the Homeless.
Okay.
Enhanced Shelter Program.
And speaking of that, did we, anything come out of what we can do in Issaquah that since we lost our program?
The emergency housing program, also on my update. Manny, you are on fire tonight. Yeah, you know all the good questions.
I'll wait till the end to ask me
Yes,
questions.
okay. Good stuff coming soon. Okay, commissioners, this is exciting. A lot of coordination, but I think a lot of really neat information. I mean, to be able to go to a nonprofit organization and see the work that they're doing and see where this money is, how it's changing lives of folks is going to be really impactful. So I love this off-cycle year to really spend time diving deeper into these organizations and seeing your decisions. Into what fruitions. So very excited for that.
I'd also like to mention that I think we have to be very careful of making sure that since we are in this location, that we don't overemphasize local people, right? That we actually make an effort to go someone who's not walking distance.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, I think that's a very good point. But to make everyone to have a similar opportunity to present to the commission, they will all be given the opportunity to virtually or in person do a presentation that will report on an overview of their organization, a program's description, and then what I'm looking for is kind of that specific, what's their program doing in Issaquah? How are they moving the needle here? And then we like to know their highlights and challenges that they're seeing right now in the community. And then, like I discussed, there's going to be additional opportunities for us to work with other Eastside commissions to join those panels. That could be something we can all attend. That can be something maybe just a couple attend and then report back. So you can see, I think this year we're going to be looking at a lot of kind of reporting to each other of, hey, this is what I'm seeing in the community. And so I'm really excited about more of that kind of discussion feel and for you all to have an opportunity to lead some of these meetings. So cool.
I would say too, and I know last time we visited few of our agencies, we did kind of like I want to say a presentation. It's something we'd be interested to kind of do like a follow-up. Here's what I learned from the agency, 1, 2, 3. I know that we did that last time kind of in an informal way. I don't know if we'd be up to that.
Yeah, I would love that. So so let's say after this meeting, the next week or so, you visit one of your organizations, the next commission meeting. I think it'd be, for agenda purposes, it'd be helpful to know beforehand so I can add it to our agenda. So,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
yeah, so that way I make sure we have scheduled time for
Right.
each commissioner who did a site visit to present. I would hope for 5 to 10 minutes and opportunities for some Q&A, but kind of what you'll want to present to the rest of the commission is just kind of explaining what was your experience, like how did you interact with this organization? What was the site tour like? What was it logistically like for you? Explain if there's a few things that you can, kind of the main key points of like their programs, what was their facilities like? What were the staff like? What was your impression? I think would be helpful. And then just like reporting some key takeaways from you, what you learned about the type of services they do or the different challenges that they have. So anything that, like, if you didn't get to go, but the other commissioner go, what would you want to know about that, right? So.
But if you're keeping the schedule and you're telling, and we know when things are happening, you'll know basically that, okay, you went Thursday, so our next meeting is here and are you gonna present or not, right?
Yeah, yeah, and the expectation will be, unless you're not there, that you will be prepared to do a presentation. And it is very low key. I mean, you don't have to do a PowerPoint or anything like that. It's just being prepared to share about your experience.
You're welcome to do one.
Yeah, man, you go ahead. Anybody can be extra.
So what's the
It's fine.
PowerPoint?
Exactly. So, yeah, so we will,
Okay.
please attend and then please share out is for sure the expectation on that. That would be super helpful.
Well, thank you, Hannah. We have B, Human Services Division update.
All right, well, Manny really queued us up for a lot of the things that I'm gonna be talking about tonight, so let me share my screen here. With our handy dandy presentation. Okay. And, okay, Maury, can you see that on your side too?
You muted more.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. You're so muted. Yep, still muted. Well, can you hear us? Oh, Preston, hi, Preston. Preston, can you see it okay on your end? And Maurice?
Yeah, I can see it.
Wonderful. Maurice, sorry, you were muted this whole time. Okay.
Let me know in the chat.
Right.
You unmuted?
I think you can ask to unmute.
Yeah. Let me see. I can't unmute you from here. Or are you just having some issues? Okay. Well, raise your hand or wave at us if you need to say something in the meeting and we'll figure out the mute thing. Okay. Maura, are you okay if I move on? Or do you need to say something?
Thumbs
You
up.
can use the chat feature.
That's what I was wondering if you wanted to use the, maybe we
You can
should,
type it, Maury.
can we chat with him?
Tell him to do thumbs up, see if does he even hear us?
Can you hear us? Keep thumbs up if you can hear us. Oh, he may not be able to hear us.
Huh,
Oh.
He was able to
I know.
speak in the beginning, right?
I will chat with you.
It's because he's unverified.
Oh, yeah, like he had to go onto his phone.
Okay, somehow,
Oh, there you go.
that's good. I hear
okay,
you.
there's too any of me.
Oh, we love to, Maury. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay.
Oh, went back to mute.
I think you muted.
We got twins.
This is kind of cool.
What's better than one Maury? Why not two
Let's
Maury?
just double.
All right.
Let us know if you need anything, Maury. We're gonna keep moving forward. All right, commissioners, so this evening, I'm excited to present on some updates in regard to our human services division. I have 4 main topics that we're going to talk about. The first one being Human Services Commission recruitment. So just want to share where we're currently at and what next steps look like. I also want to provide a human services grants update. So we're working on contracting, some very exciting news with that I will share. And then, of course, we have our other programs, behavioral health and homeless outreach team. We have some updates there. And then our emergency housing program. So, Maura, you got 2 out of 4. Nice done.
Good job.
Okay, so on the screen here, this is what I wanted to do tonight was provide a visual of where we're at currently with our membership and then what next cycle is going to look like. So on the left here, we have the current regular members. So we have 2 2025 members. Madeline and Trish, your terms are ending this year, which means
Gold watches.
that'd be true. So you 2 have the option to either not renew your term or you can reapply. We have a few other term options that you can consider. So you do not need to share anything this evening, but I will need to know probably in the next few months what your thoughts are. Again, we'd love to have you continue, but you can decide what's best for you and your schedule.
You said they either not or they have to reapply?
Technically reapply, yes.
And we have to interview too, right?
Yes. It's a very casual interview. We can discuss that, but per policy, that is the truth. Yes. And then Manny and Maury, you both will move to the 2026. Jaime, you're still at the 2027. We have a 2027 vacant position still. Yeah, Huma, you are good until 2028. You got some time with us. That gives us 2 new positions in, for 2029 regular positions. And then Lucrecia has been acting in as the regular position. We just didn't have the official, the timing didn't work out for her, the official move. So I will talk to Lucrecia about moving into one of the regular positions, either the 2027 or 2029. So, and then Preston, you are officially our youth advisory member, but we hope to still see you for next term. But if something changes, please let us know. But we do not want you to leave. So you're on for next year.
Yes, I will be staying.
No pressure, but
We're gonna get you a vote too there, Preston.
yeah. So really what I wanted to do here on the right side for next cycle is I really wanted to highlight, we've got a lot of vacant positions. We already have 2 right now. I'm hoping we don't have 2 that we don't need to fill because Madeline and Trish will want to and be able to continue. But if not, that's 4 positions that we need to consider. And so I wanted to provide a timeline because it's actually coming a lot sooner than you think. So open recruitment. So the time when applications will open is the end of January. That's soon. And they have until the end of February to apply. And then I will be conducting interviews come mid-March. And we need to provide recommendations by the end of March. The mayor then takes that to a city council to be appointed and officially voted in. May 1st is when new commissioners start their term. April is the end of the term for 2025 members. So with that in mind, I would just ask for you to all consider helping us out in the recruitment. If there's anybody in your neighborhood, anybody that you work with, any other residents that you feel like would be interested in the work that we do, I'd be happy to talk to folks before they apply and just let them know what the commitment level is and the work that we do and kind of what their impact can be for our community. Be happy to discuss with people, but I just want to kind of put it back on the table to current commissioners to consider helping us out in recruitment if there's anybody that you can think of to join us on this amazing team. So any questions about recruitment or comments or anything like that?
Is this the same time schedule as new mayor?
So the new, Mayor Polly is going to be here until, no, it's not the same time. I think she has another year until it's,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
I thought
you
it
know the
was
time
this-
frame?
I don't know exactly what the date is. so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's
that
another
was
year.
this
so
year, I'm sorry.
I don't know
She
if
has
it's on the
another year.
calendar year or.
Yeah, I think it's.
Bless you.
I was gonna say, this is Commissioner Hyman, it was, in terms of open recruitment, you know, do we have like a flyer or brochure we can hand to people, or just, you know, there's like the word of mouth, but I think
Yeah.
also like present a visual. I think we'll kind of go long ways of, here's what a commission does, here's a function of it. I mean, there's so much we do in terms of like the activism around it, but I think it'd be great to have some sort of like, hey, here's like the, why it's important to serve in the community and kind of impact the decisions around that.
Yeah.
You know, if we have some sort of document.
Yeah, it's a great idea. I like this.
And you would want specific for human services, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not aware that any of the boards or commissions have that. So it's kind of
There's some resources available on the City of Issaquah website, aren't there?
Yeah, you
About
probably
the-
have to know where to look though.
That's
the
true.
thing about it, is like, oh yeah, go to the website, and then they.
You need a
click,
QR
click, click.
code.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's right. So I'd love to see a QR code that actually you hand that says, if you're interested, go here, and it has all that information instead of having that information on something where you just
Yeah.
have a QR code and it
Yeah.
takes you right to it.
Well, and I will say, and you all can attest to this or not, but I mean, a lot of folks, residents are thinking, okay, how do I get involved? Oh, I'll join a board or commission. They go online, they start the application, then it's checkbox, first choice, second choice. Oh, who's human services?
Yeah.
What do they do? What does the equity board do? What does planning and policy do? So I think it's a little bit, you get people first who are interested in doing a commission board. And then you get the second piece of it is, oh, human services sounds interesting. But that's a really good idea, having to take it as like a next step, especially for our situation. We have quite a few positions we need to fill.
I'm saying that as we, you know, I'm trying to do, you know, 2 and 2, like our field visits, when we go out to the community or agencies, and, you know, and also say, here's why commissions are important. I think it would kind of do, you know, that also, that advocacy as well.
Yeah.
And you know, I still find that people think they mix human services with human resources.
Oh,
no.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the truth. We see it a few times.
So is there a resource where it's all in one place where it says, okay, these are the commissions available, and click here and it takes you to the definition of it and what is it?
Yeah. So
There is.
and because what it would do is it would, I think a link says Human Services Commission, takes us to our
Yeah.
website. You know, it's a very vague description. It's not very like in-depth clear.
Maybe we need a new name,
Yeah.
so nobody thinks it's HR.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, go further. I think it's even like, here's so-and-so, here's Trish, if you want to learn about human services, someone that's on the board.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think a way to connect, I mean, I think that'd be like a next step versus just go on the website, say, hey, here's Commissioner Manny, if you want to learn more about it. Can give, you know, it's more work for us, but I think it's good work
Mhm.
to say.
Give out Jaime's phone number.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, more than happy,
Put it on
you
the
know,
website.
hey, more the merrier. So,
No, that's a great idea. I would even love to consider like taking it to the next level with our team, communications team. Maybe they already do this, but they do some great like social media clips about it and stuff. It'd be really great to interview commissioners for that and promotion for the recruitment.
why we
To,
do what we do.
yeah, exactly.
Even follow us on one of the visits.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that-
Join us for a visit.
Hey, that's actually not a bad idea.
Famous.
I volunteer to make a clip.
That'd be great.
He volunteered to do that.
Do the clip.
Yeah.
I was surprised the last go around how few people applied.
Yeah, we did not have,
Yeah, and then there was an overabundance of people for equity.
yeah.
And in some ways,
It's about the name.
Yeah.
It
I
really is.
agree.
I think people don't realize how adjacent to the Equity Commission this
Mhm.
is or how much it overlaps.
Yeah.
And I always talk to that staff liaison who does the interviews, because usually they have like maybe one position and 10 applications. And I always say, hey, if you see somebody who's not going to get the position, but you think would be a good fit, and, you know, please will you put a note in for human services. So I will do that also this year. But yeah, historically, we really actually do not receive too many applications for our commission. Yeah.
Boards and commissions. Oh, there's a specific, on the city side, it says apply to planning policy commission. That's the only one that has a special.
Exactly. So there's per our policy, we only have open recruitment and appointments certain times, but you can have special
Okay,
recruitments if a board is desperate and they need some. So that's our situation
I see.
with our planning and policy committee. They meet,
Okay.
I believe they meet twice a month, so it's a pretty
Ooh,
heavier commitment.
you kidding?
So hence
Okay,
kind of the challenge of getting
I see.
commissioners for that. Yes, so if you have anybody in mind, again, please feel free to pass my name and number out. But please encourage you all to help with the recruitment, and I'll work on kind of some, maybe like a brochure or an email you could just forward to somebody with more details about this commission.
Business cards. Here.
Yeah, exactly. Make it official.
Can people be on more than one commission?
That's a good question.
In the old days, they used to be, and that might have been prior to Mayor Polly.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just.
Or is it like considered like commission hogging? Kind of? I mean, like,
Okay,
you know,
yeah.
like somebody has more status in the community, so they get to hog all the commissions or something.
Mayor Polly wants to spread out the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right,
I mean,
okay.
I think that's, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if
I'm not talking, I'm talking about a neighbor of mine who I believe is on the Economic Vitality Commission, who I
Oh,
think would
sure.
be a good fit here.
Yeah,
So, but
yeah.
I don't know if that's allowed.
yeah, that's a good question. I'll have to look into. I mean, and
And you know, like if we don't get enough applicants,
Yeah, sure, yeah.
yeah, I don't see why
then,
not.
then if somebody wants to be on it, but happens to be on another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, there's also a difference between commission and board, right?
No, technically not. I don't. Well, they're just different names. Is all I understand.
Okay.
You went through the process of making a board. So what's your understanding?
Now you're
I'm
in the
still
hot
trying to
seat.
understand.
No, I see your point though, because on the city side, it says boards and commissions.
I don't know what the actual difference is.
Wally, the city administrator, told me there's no difference.
That's what I thought.
That's why I was wondering if you could be on a board and a commission.
This is run like a board. Like our
Yes.
procedures are just like a board.
Yeah.
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 Sometimes I just think it's how the name flows, like
I thought
Arts Commission instead of Art Board.
Yeah, that's
So-
true. That-
So it's the Arts Commission. So I think part of it is that, is how the name flows.
I
Interesting.
think that makes sense.
I thought we went through a definition of this at one time where
I'm sure you
we
did.
had a
Yeah.
definition of what a board did, and what a commission did,
Yeah.
and they pretty much joined together, but
Yeah, I think I don't think there's a difference. I can look into that.
But I do think, you know, anybody that doesn't know, that might be interested, you know, that wants to apply, they might wonder, what's the difference between a board and a
Yeah, it's a
commission?
fair question.
Yeah.
well, it's already on it. Let's see.
All right, so everyone's homework will be to see if you have a friend or neighbor or anybody and to talk to them about all the amazing work you do here, and see if they're interested. Excellent. So yeah, like I said, that's gonna be here before we know it. So I'll keep reminding folks as we get closer. Okay, so moving forward, want to talk about our human services contracts. There's two pieces that I want to discuss. It's just an update of where we're at in the contracting piece of it, and then something new that we're doing this year that's official. We've talked about briefly but I want to go into a little more depth in regards to advance payments. So first off, updates on our contracts, where we are in the process. We have 42 programs. That means 42 contracts. So a contract is a binding agreement with the city of Issaquah with what we call a scope of work. The scope of work is stating, taking information from their application of what their program does, and what we are doing in negotiation is talking about how are you going to serve our city? How many residents are you going to serve? And what will your service unit numbers and service units look like? Service units varies depending on the organization, but it's how we measure outcomes. It's how we measure outputs for our city, and what we determine invoicing on. So the contract is saying, I'm going to serve 100 residents with 50 service units. That could look like bed nights if you're a shelter. It could be case management hours if you're doing case management appointments. It could be food items if you're doing food services. So all of the application, you saw the various different items, but that's what we work with. It takes a lot of coordinating. It takes a lot of coordinating with other cities as well. So if an organization is funded, not just by Issaquah, usually there's other Bellevue, Redmond, Sammamish, other cities that we're working with as well. Here we have two types of contracts. One is what we call a pooled contract versus a non-pooled. This may have been brought up in the previous years, but the pooled contract is an interlocal agreement with the city of Kirkland. This is where basically they hold the contract, and in their contract, and why I bring it up tonight is that they are also offering advance payments. And I will go in more details about that here, next slide. And then the other organizations, we work with them directly. And so really the intention of these contracts is for invoicing, but also one of the things we look at is outcomes. So at the end of the year, they provide like outcomes, and that's the main negotiating that we're doing is, hey, food bank, or hey, organization, we want to know, how are you changing the needle? Like, what are you most proud about in your organization that shows the impact that you're doing? What would say, wow, this was a success? And so we really be intentional about that when we do those contracts. So the big thing for us that we're working with, and we are still finalizing with legal at this point, but we'll have this done shortly, is what we call advanced payments. So typically and historically, we are a reimbursement model, which means that you have to prove to us you already did the work, and then we'll pay you. So often organizations are starting the work in January, but they do not see their first check from the city of Issaquah until end of April. That's a long time, especially for a grassroots organization or an organization who's providing financial aid directly to our residents. It may not have quite that cash flow. And so this has been in the works for over 2 years. This is a very monumental moment for the city of Issaquah and for human services on the east side to be able to offer this. Conversations with nonprofits started a year ago. We have council members who've been advocating for this. So we're really excited to be able to offer it. Ultimately, it just changes their payment schedule. They are still required to meet the contract scope of work requirements, but scheduling will look differently. So they will receive 2 payments per year. We are still monitoring, though, their service units and making sure they do meet that. So very excited to offer that. I will add, one of my coworkers from Redmond was in a leadership meeting and made a comment about advanced payments that we're able to all offer to leaders in Seattle. And they were just astounded that we were able to how did you get legal to agree to this? Like, how to get through those bylaws and stuff. So what I foresee and what I'm hoping with this is that we're going to be the start of something really big. It's a little bit of a guinea pig this year of trying to figure out exactly how it works. Does it work? Mm-hmm. But if it does, and we can show success out of it, I think we could see other cities following suit. So big change, and it really does impact our nonprofits quite significantly. Very exciting for that. Okay, so our behavioral health and homeless outreach team. So a couple just high level updates. So first off, I want to provide some staffing updates. We've gone through a few changes. Apologies for not having a formal introduction in the beginning when we first started. But this is Brenda Parker here. She's our human services manager. Started in November. I forgot now. Yeah, November. Yes. And so Brenda here stepped into the role after our previous manager, Monica Negrilla, left. And then you all kind of heard about some of our city's budget changing that did have some city cuts. One of that did include one of our positions. Brenda was our previous behavioral health supervisor. So with the changes, we did not backfill that position. So our team previously had a human services manager, human services coordinator, a behavioral health supervisor, and then 3 coordinators. We now just have 3 coordinators, our manager, and I am now our senior human services coordinator.
Oh, good for you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's great. So ultimately, I do the same role. It just is a better reflection of the
Mhm.
level of work that I'm doing. So much appreciated of that support from the city.
Your name,
Um,
same page.
Yes.
Oh,
So most notable for the behavioral health is they went from 4. So we have quite some history with this. It's very been influx over every single year it's changed. So we started off in 2021 with 1 behavioral health coordinator. We moved to 2 behavioral health coordinators in 2022. And then in 2023 is when we had, or I guess 2024. January 2024, we added 4 behavioral health coordinators, one of them being the supervisor, and that also provided direct service. So we went from 4 direct service providers, so we are down technically a direct coordinator. So yes, so with that, that's our staffing update. Our referral sources, right? This program has started since 2021. We are a fairly well-oiled machine in this. We've got our systems down. We are always improving, always growing and learning. But we have our main referral sources that come from, for our behavioral health side, is with our police department. So this can look like co-response. It could look like follow-up or different referrals. We also respond to homeless referrals as well. That could be internal departments, probably one of our largest referral source that we have for that. It could be just residents sending us emails. It can be other community partners that we work with, but we respond to that. If you're familiar with See Click Fix, anybody's used that one? If you see a pothole or something like that.
Oh,
you wanna tell
okay,
city,
okay, yes.
you need some help over here, we've got a
Yes.
few referrals that way as well. So that's pretty streamlined now. Just want to share a few highlights from our program. If you are interested, so we see this as one program, but we report on our dashboard, just homeless outreach. And so we have information on our dashboard for how many participants are served, permanently housed, how many contacts we've had each month. So we update that online. So that's a helpful resource to have. I would say some of our highlights here is just some of our community partners. We really solidified our relationship with our police department, Eastside Fire Rescue. We work with on a monthly and multiple basis. We work really closely with our park ranger here at the city, and then a huge shout out to our Issaquah Food and Clothing Bank. I feel like we're there daily and work closely with their staff. They're a wonderful resource for our team, and we work well with them for different residents. And then one of the things, Brenda's talked about with our team, I've heard our director talk about this, but this, our homeless outreach team, our behavioral health team, and our coordinators, I mean, you can tell there's a real heart behind it, right? This is not about, oh, we got to clean up the city and we don't want any, visible encampments or homelessness. That's really not the heart or the purpose of this program. Our coordinators have a huge compassion heart. They're trained in that de-escalation and motivational interviewing and how to work with folks in crisis. And really the depth of our residents that we know, we know them well. It takes many touch points to be able for them to accept a service, for them to build that kind of trust. So really proud of our team just to seeing that commitment and that heart to that. So huge shout out to our team and the work that they do. And so with this kind of work, though, obviously comes a lot of challenges. This is not easy work. There's some lack of resources, and it's really hard to work with somebody who has no motivation, does not want to accept services. That is what we're seeing a lot here in Issaquah, are folks who are just content with where they're at. And they don't want to move, they don't want to change, they don't want to move into a house. And so how do you work with somebody who's not willing to accept potential resources? And on the flip side, the resources are very limited. We don't have any shelters in Issaquah. And the shelters that we do have in our neighbor cities are usually at capacity. It's really hard to find beds for people who are even willing to take it. And then we are also dealing with people who've been homeless for years, decades even. And so to make those changes, it's hard. We're dealing with some mental health, we're dealing with substance use. So it changes some safety approaches and how we approach and provide services to these folks. Yeah. So really great team. A lot of great work happening in the city with that. Anything, I don't mean to put you on the spot, Brenda, but anything you'd want to add?
No, the only thing I would add, I guess, is doing all of that, we're also doing it with budget cuts, and so we're seeing
Yeah.
some changes, not just with staff, but some of the programs across the city. So I think it'll be a challenging couple of years, but I think everyone is, like she said, it's a wonderful team. Everyone's ready to go, but it's gonna be a difficult couple of years.
Okay, and then the last update here is our emergency housing program. Okay, so this was a short-lived program, so let me just kind of rewind a little bit and recap. So this was really a very impressive program that came out of the city that was really in response to what we were seeing in our homeless outreach team, is that there's no shelters in Issaquah. People who are homeless in Issaquah do not want to leave Issaquah. There is a unique sense of, this is my home, this is where I'm from, or this is like where I'm comfortable with. I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to go to Bellevue or Snoqualmie. And so we wanted to find a place to house and shelter people. We grew close relationships with Motel 6, and we were able to move forward with a program. We did put out what we call RFP, so we were hoping to find a service provider to run this program. We were not successful with that, so we brought it in-house, and we started this program in July of 2023. This program had 10 rooms for residents. There was an additional one that was used for our police department. So often they would run into people in the middle of the night who were in crisis or needed a place to stay, but everything's closed at that time. And so to have that as an option for them was a huge resource. So we had a designated room for them. And then we had one of the offices. We had approval to move and funding to move forward with this program. It looked all good. And then Motel 6 came to us early summer of 2024 and said, sorry, it's not you, it's us. We can't do this. They were going through their own legal and own little situation where they had to close down the program. So unrelated to our program and the outcomes of that, it got shut down of August 2024. Those residents, we tried very hard before it ended to get them into some sort of stable or permanent housing. That's the whole goal of that program. And some of them found temporary options. Some of them went unfortunately back onto the streets. We continue services as much as we can. I am happy to share that just yesterday, somebody who has been a long time resident of Issaquah and unhoused here, who was a part of the EHP program, was just housed. We just moved him in yesterday. And I mean, those success stories, I mean, that keeps you going the whole time, right? There's so many challenges or unsuccessful moments. So to hit that moment, to be able to help him move in and get him a bag of groceries and a little flour for his place, it was really exciting. So
Where did you move him into?
great question. It was all the way in Seattle.
Where?
Seattle. So yeah, we're very limited on affordable housing. And it is very challenging to get into the system to get low income housing. And so when it comes up, you really just need to take it, at least to get your foot in the door and then see, other things.
Were you able to get him a voucher?
Yeah, he was part of a program.
He's in a program where they have case management, and so I don't know if it's the same as a voucher program, but he'll be there for 2 years, I think is the.
Mhm.
Is
At
this
least.
Alfonso?
You know,
No,
Okay,
no.
yeah.
Haven't seen them around.
Okay, well, this,
Yeah,
that's
so
great.
we celebrate any
Yeah, and
permanent house.
they were willing to leave Issaquah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very big deal. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Issaquah could, oh. More,
Anna?
yes.
Oh, yes,
Do
Maureen.
we, is there any other funding coming in to assist us, to assist the city from an outside source, to take care of that housing?
For the housing,
So So maybe we could have, say, a lower rent place that really the city can't afford to do, but with additional monies, they could get that.
Yeah, great question. So we have what we call 1590 fund. So it's a specific tax that we have that has to go towards affordable housing and the housing continuum. That's where our funding comes from in the EHP program because it's a part of the continuum. And so I wouldn't call it outside money, but that is the
Taxpayer
revenue.
money.
Yeah, it's intended, and the goal is for that to be used for infrastructure for affordable housing. So
see.
that obviously takes permitting, years of planning, and we are in the works of that right now as a city.
Okay. Thank you, Hannah.
Yeah, great question. Thank you.
Well, I was just gonna mention, because I volunteered at Issaquah Community Services, and I think it was your lovely partner. She was able to place somebody on the peninsula.
Oh, yeah, I
Somebody
remember that one.
from Issaquah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is a common theme. It's not ideal situation, but it is the world that we are in right now. Most folks do not move that we work with in Issaquah do not find housing in Issaquah. There's just not affordable options. There's not affordable or supportive housing. We're very limited on that. And so commonly we see them move either, neighboring cities, not too far, still different. But yes, then you'll sometimes see people really move far. So we really tailor it to that person and their needs and their, comfort level.
I think for me, it's, is there movement around having a partner similar to Motel 6 to, I live in this community, I've been here for, plus 15 years and to say, we're moving kids, or not kids, because I work with kids. Of just standing tall of like, we're gonna house our own. I think, I think there's something to that. I think, I know we were sending folks to other communities, but I think sometimes that doesn't resonate with my heart.
Mhm.
Is that they're coming here, they should have the chance to say, hey, we have an opportunity for you to stay and house with opportunities to thrive within our community. I mean, that's all within our mission, vision, values. And that would be my take is, how do we create movement to, advocate as a board, as a commission, we're just talking about two differences of just ways, I'm thinking about immigrant refugees and with the new administration coming in is, it's close to my heart and how do we, provide housing to those populations.
Can I just speak to that for a moment? I think it's definitely on my heart too, Jaime, and so right now just kind of learning all the moving pieces and trying to see if we can pull all of those moving pieces together and get something going. So I think the interest is there. I think we have some money, but I think it's just figuring out what's gonna stick.
Yeah.
And is that another pilot program? Is it something more? I don't know what the answer is, but I know that there's a lot of conversation and a lot of reaching out to people to make something happen. So we may not see something come to fruition this year, but I would hope in the next 2 years, we have a solid plan and moving forward, and we may be coming and asking for that support. So
I think I used to work on the criminal side and juvenile, and it was like the whole idea out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
We're gonna be coming back. I'm like, that's the true work is saying, hey, you belong here. We want to value you and we're going to find ways to have you here with your family. And I think there's something to that, in terms of, where we stand and I would be more than happy to advocate for such.
Yeah.
and I do think we should track, we will track the number of people who leave, who like yesterday. We have him placed, we have him in this place, but how long will he stay there?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know, but I would definitely want to check those numbers and see how long people take before they come back. And are even willing to come back and live on the streets so they can be here.
There was a study, you know, I'm on the Puget Sound Education now, and we're the second relocation for all the folks coming in. So if let's say someone goes to New York, their second relocation is Washington State. If they go to California, the second relocation is Washington State. So there's an influx of folks coming in, and it's just keeping that on a macro level is just how we want to be as a community when it comes to housing all diverse folks. It's something that's, you know, important to my heart.
I have to,
Say some more.
Oh, yeah, just, you know, infrastructure changes, so much money, so much imagination and so much time. I see lots of land that just constantly say notice of proposed land use action. And I'm like, again, totally uneducated about the processes, but is there a way for us to build such housing for the future?
Yes, and by law,
Yeah.
we need to.
Yeah.
We are required to, Washington.
So like the
State.
new developers must be required to have some okay.
Yeah, and our city planning is working really hard to try to change our coding and policies to make it more desirable to have developers do that. And so that is in big conversations that is very much outside of human services. That is in our
Planning and
development. Yeah.
But like what I'm thinking more yes to that, but needs multi-pronged approach, obviously, because there's a huge influx of people coming. Instead of relying on Motel 6, could we actually just build a city facility that? But, you know, what do I know about the funding?
Yeah.
Whether it requires a public vote or I don't know.
Yeah. A lot to it, but
I see
with the conversation.
construction and, you know, plots of land or old houses waiting for wrecking balls. And I'm just like, well, who is it for? Who is it for? And who are we serving?
Right.
Exactly.
I think it's also three-pronged where you have the actual people that actually need it. You have the contractors and you also have the public mindset that needs to also be in that mode, right? Where, you know, you don't want the not in my backyard type of.
The criminalization.
Yeah, right. So you don't just have to fix the I guess, the physical place of home, but you have to fix the mindset of those in the community.
Culture.
That's so.
Going back to being the planning policy, you know, commission.
Yes.
As well, because that's my thing is like, there's gotta be something that where the infrastructure to grow. I'm just like, wow, this is, you know, because we're growing in a way, but there's folks that are, I don't know what the process on it, but I feel like there's some of that as well.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Little bit off topic, but on topic. My husband was in the hospital last week, and the guy performing his heart ultrasound said, you know, in the greater Issaquah area, all the way up to Maple Valley, there's about 9,000 homes that are planned to be built, and they're all owned by one guy in Texas. So the communities are going to get nothing back for this. So again, it just begs the question of like who and who is it serving? Like who is it serving? Are these even members of our community who get to build and profit?
Did you say they're all owned by one person in Texas?
One guy in Texas, according to him. I have not fact checked, but
Right.
It would not surprise me because developers and development, you know.
It's getting more and more consolidated.
Yes, it is
Fewer
becoming
people
more
own-
consolidated.
Fewer people owning more property.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, there
am
was
I-
Ken Behring that did the Highlands and what is it, Miramax or Mirabeau or
Miramont?
whatever.
Oh, Miramont.
Miramont, yeah.
Up there.
Yeah, that was the guy that owned the Seahawks. And that was part of his deal. He would buy the team if he was allowed to do those kind of deals. And you know, that's what developed all that stuff. So that's not really an unusual thing.
So I'm just like, can one postage stamp just be developed into a multi-story building where we can do such things? Like just one, and the rest can be for the developers, but like just one, can we have it for the city? And what's the process like and what will it take? You know?
Well, I'm happy to report that in our Human Services Strategic Plan, as well as our citywide comprehensive plan. We have in there, it's a similar model to like the Together Center. The Together Center has nonprofit down below at the
Yep,
first
yep.
floor, and then above it is affordable housing. And so that is something that we are trying to put things in place so we can build towards that. It takes time, but you know what makes it go faster is your voices. You know what I mean? Making them known. The city employees really work for you all, for the residents, right? And so you get to say what you want, and really, as a city, we want to listen to that. We want to try to adhere to that as much as we can. So your voices matter. So as opportunities arise, I will point you all in, if there's opportunities to advocate for that. I think that would be wonderful and would appreciate that, the advocacy.
I have one more thought on that. It's also in Issaquah, housing, it's not very affordable. So what is low income housing in itself?
Right,
I mean,
right.
is it low
Oh, that's
compared to?
yeah.
Yeah,
Is it,
right.
You know, so, when you're talking about, low income to somebody may not be low.
Yeah.
to others.
That's where we go back to just the AMI, like there's a King County,
Income.
yeah, the income like medium range. So there's stuff in place to guide us in that.
Am I correct that the TOD, eventually when that's put in place, that's the transit-oriented development?
Mhm.
Will are there plans for affordable housing in that,
I do not know. Do you?
I think I just met with Jen, but I can't remember for sure what she said about that, but I think that there might be something in the works for that, but it's not anything imminent. It'd be a while.
Not anything?
Imminent.
Yeah.
According to history, to be right on top of the track.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's certainly not gonna be for our homeless people. You know, even though it's affordable, I don't think homeless people are gonna be able to afford any kind of low income housing. It's, they need more assistance than that.
Right.
Yeah. We need to put folks who are coming out of homelessness into supportive housing, ideally, right? They need to have that.
Mhm.
So really good points, great conversation in regards to housing. It is something that Human Services, we have a voice in, and we're gonna be part of kind of that, one of the prongs into that solution. So we are having conversations and we'll see how we can continue to support that. Right now, our focus on that housing continuum is to figure out what is another emergency housing option. So that's where we currently are at, is we're doing a lot of research of what is it going to look like in the future for us? We have funding for it, we have support for it, but do we have the partnerships for it? Do we have the infrastructure for it in Issaquah? Where can we do this at? And that would provide a similar type of program. And we also have to decide what's the best service model. How do we want to approach that? So lots of conversations happening, a lot of research happening as well, and we'll see kind of where this lands. That this is a pretty lofty project. So I commend Brenda and our team working on that right now to see where this lands. So we'll keep you posted on it. So the update is really there's no real update.
Well, you also know that, bring that up here and we're basically preaching to the choir here because it's why we're here.
Right.
So getting that information out and getting that heartfelt need for others is probably not needed. The build is not needed here. It's out elsewhere that needs to be done.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I said because that did happen to me at my place. Was I had a random person looking for housing options, and we were talking to law enforcement, and we had to send them out to Snoqualmie on there. And it's unfortunate. I was like, well, we should have some sort of transition. I think it would ease up on crisis, ease up on law enforcement. The Motel 6 program speaks to that, and so here I am, trying to give this person some money to go out to Snoqualmie. Well, actually, one of my neighbors did. So it was one of those things like, no, we're better than that. So I think for me, it just resonates of just, where I live. It's like I want to be able to say, hey, here's some opportunities to, so that's just my personal take on a recent example.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
More power to you.
Alrighty, last slide here. Just kind of our next steps, what we're looking for us for commission, and the work that we're doing. So I am right now receiving, we call them annual reports for demographics and for outcomes from 2024. So next time I hope to provide just kind of a summary of what happened in 2024 with our nonprofit organization. So as contracts have ended, and we'll see what came out of that. And then also our human services strategic plan, we're past the halfway point, but we do annual check-ins, where we at with the strategic actions, what are some highlights that are happening. So I want to also provide an update to you all with regards to that.
And those services that are provided, they've been paid for.
Oh, for 2024?
Yeah.
Yes, they have been paid. Officially, those.
Okay.
Okay, concludes my report.
All right, thanks so much, Hannah. Thanks so much, Brenda. We're gonna be moving forward to number 5, reports. Any reports from, I don't have any reports in terms of chair. How about the vice chair, Manny?
No, not at this time.
And from the commissioners, anybody that wants to update to the group, reports relevant? All right. Then we have Preston, our youth report. Do you have anything you want to speak to, Preston?
Yeah, just a couple updates on a few different IAB events. So for some recently completed events that we did, we had our career and resume planning for high schoolers. We also had our second annual Issaquah hackathon event, where we invited different tech savvy teens around so we could host a competition for them. And then we also did our middle school dodgeball tournament all the way back in November, December-ish. For things that we have planned, we have our Harry Potter night, which is for elementary schoolers. It's just like a fun event. And then we're also planning a flag football for more middle school, high schoolers. And then in recent news, our leadership council went to the Issaquah Parks and Recreation. So we could send our plan for the Issaquah Kids Triathlon. Last year they were unable to host it, but this year we were able to have them approve our plan. So we're hoping to host it either June 1st or the 8th of June. So like right when school comes out ish, or right when around that area. And I think that's it for me.
Can you tell me a bit more about Harry Potter night? And our kindergartners, for Harry Potter night, can kindergartners come too? And what does it involve?
I'm not a part of that committee, but I believe it's just elementary schoolers. So I definitely think it's possible. For events, we just do a ton of different Harry Potter themed events. So we have like potion making, which is just like creating slime. We have like butter beer, which is just like butterscotch and ice cream, and just some other like really just like arts and crafts and fun stuff like that.
Where can I find more information?
It is in like a couple months, and if you look at like the official Issaquah Facebook, Instagram account, I think we should have like a sign up there.
Okay, thank you.
I'd love to do something with that. I got a bunch of little twigs. I can put a little ruby thing on it to make the
probably wands or something.
That'd be so cool.
I know.
Could be a prize for one of the games. That's great.
March 7th.
March 7th?
March 7th. This is on the visitissaqua.com.
Oh, Visit Issaquah is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ages 7 to 11.
7 to 11.
Oh.
Fake ID.
That's
Cute.
Well, thank you so much, Preston. We have staff report from Hannah. Brenda, anything you all want to report in terms of staff update?
Yeah, I have one update. It's not officially written on a staff memo, but I want to share with you all. We are going as a city with our budget cuts. We are seeing a little bit changes with our cultural events. So we had 5 culture events in the previous years where Human Services partnered with community partners to have this. We are in transition year, but we are trying to still find ways to offer that space for our nonprofits, but we just don't have funding for it. So we'll, that's been a big part of my role and a big part of giving back to the community. I'll provide some more updates on that officially, but we are looking like we will move forward with a few of the events throughout the year. One of them being Black History Month. We are able to partner with Issaquah Highland Council. And if you all attended last year, we had from Onyx, they had a museum walkthrough in our community
Oh,
center.
yeah.
So that is going to be a similar, but it's going to be up in Blakely Hall, partnering with Issaquah Highlands.
And they did an art thing too. Was that last year? Or was that 2 years ago?
Last year.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. Yes, so that'll be there. And then I think that, so once we have like the official flyers and stuff, you'll see some emails with a little more details, but just want to put that on your radar for February. And that is it for my staff report. Brenda, is there anything? No, any updates? Great.
All right, we have business or announcements. I don't have any announcements. Does the group have any announcements? Murray, Commissioner Murray Preston, any announcements to the group? All right, well, meeting adjourned. It's
8:02.
8:02, January 15th. Our next meeting will be February 19, 25.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
Right.
Officially stop.